What's up, everyone? Scott the TroutHammer here. We're at my old stomping grounds. We're at Waverly Lake, and we're gonna fish for something a little bit different today. So I've been doing a lot of trout videos, but the weather's starting to warm up, the water temperature's getting better, the water's getting clearer, and sometime last week it was like someone just flipped a switch over here and the fish started spawning. I was catching bluegill, bass, crappie, so we're gonna fish for those today. Tell you why I fished this spot, show you guys what we're gonna use today, and we're gonna have a good day fishing. So, oh, there you go. There's one that just jumped right there, so I picked a good spot. But tell you why I picked the spot. So pretty much from where that gentleman there is fishing over to the dock, and then all the way back there. This is just one big flat. I think it's like tops 4 feet deep here. So when the water temperature gets up, and it's getting the time of the year where fish are starting to think to spawn, they're going to come up from the deeper parts and they're going to find these shallow flats, and they're going to start making spawn beds here. That's what you do when you come in. When they're making those spawn beds, you throw little lures when they're in just a mode of feed, trying to fatten up, trying to eat the right kind of food and the right kind of forage that's going to be good for the eggs, good for the development of the next generation of fish. And you're going to find them like not too far out from shore, making beds out here. Also, they like to hang out under these trees because you get bugs and worms that fall down from the trees, and easy meals for them. But yeah, let's get to fishing. So we are going to start out today fishing small. Now you can see the spot I have to fish here also isn't very large, so going with the smallest pole I have right now, going with the ultralight. Start out the champagne 2-inch curly tail grub, put a crappie nibble on there. Let's get to it. So what I'm sort of doing to start out here to search for where the fish are is I'm fan casting. So I'm not casting very far out from the shore. You really don't need to, but a tip for bank fishermen is to fish what's directly in front of you first. Don't try to make these like 100-foot casts the first thing you do when you get there, because think about it this way: you've got fish right in front of you. I mean, I've probably got fish 5 feet out in front of me. I just can't see them because the water's still a little muddy and I can't see very deep even with these polarized sunglasses in these conditions. And if I cast all the way out there, if I cast halfway to the other shore and catch a fish, bring it through, it's going to scare all the fish that are out here in front of me. I've just cut down the amount of fish I'm going to catch by 75% or so. So fish what you have directly in front of you first. Don't make very far casts, but with fan casting, just start on one side and then just sort of work your angles across from you. Like I've said in previous videos too, even though I'm fan casting, I'm not retrieving the same way every time. I'm going a little deeper, a little shallow. I'm reeling faster, reeling slower. I'm not presenting the exact same lure the exact same way every time I retrieve my lure. The fish are going to get pretty used to the sight of that, and they're going to shut off. Oh, had a bite right in front of me on that jig. A little jigging action. Let's go right back through, see if I can get him again. Well, all right. First bluegill of 2015, and it's a pretty decent one. For the bluegill in here, that's all right. So he just choked that. There we go. Little bluegill. There you go, guys. Little bluegill. Whoa, just had another bite on the jig. Like when I jigged my lure. Apparently they like that action today. Oh, just had another bite. It's always nice when you find the action for a lure the fish are already keying into early on. Another reason why I picked this spot, it's gonna be a little frustrating just to cast into it, but I'm actually fishing against the wind right here. The wind is blowing directly to me. For bank fishermen, that's actually extremely helpful, because all those small panfish we're fishing for right now, there's another bite, all those small panfish that we're fishing for right now, they're following their food. The zooplankton, the bugs, anything that's on the surface, the wind is blowing all that stuff this way, so they're following that stuff. And especially if you want to catch bigger fish, like the predatory fish, like the bigger crappie and the bass, they're going to follow the bait fish because that's their food. So it gets frustrating for people to fish casting into the wind, but it actually will help you a lot more than it'll hinder you. If you continue to do it and get used to casting into the wind, you actually learn different casting techniques, fishing into the wind. But it'll help you a lot more. Wow. You don't get much luckier on a cast than that. I just barely missed that tree up there. Not gonna press it. Not gonna try that cast again. So here's the thing about, I mean, this really goes across all different species of panfish. You know, you could include perch, bluegill, crappie, trout, you know, even bass in this thing about fishing. So the bigger fish usually stay on the bottom. They don't move very much. So if you're looking for a bigger fish, sometimes what you want to do is just want to fish deeper and slower. Another thing about those bigger fish is they prefer a slower presentation. They really don't want to chase down a meal unless they deem it really worthy. Like if it's a big calorie meal, if you're bringing like a big swim bait or a big crawdad in front of them, then they'll probably chase it down. But using a smaller lure here, it really just depends on if the fish deems that worthy enough. You know, bring it right across the fish's face. Maybe it's got the right color, the right action. You know, if you're using a crappie nibble like I am, the right flavor it wants, then it'll probably just move slightly to chomp down on. But normally, they like the slower presentations. Oh, what do we got? That's a keeper. White crappie. Yeah. First crappie of the year for me. These guys taste good. Yeah. I've been looking for these guys. Yep. Little crappie. Oh, come on. So, when you're fishing for crappie, is what this is here, you want to use a really light rod and also light line, because I don't know if you can tell, but the crappie, they have these really soft mouths, and if you set the hook on the fish, you're gonna rip the lure right out of its face, or you're probably gonna rip the fish's face off. So when I'm crappie fishing, when I'm targeting crappie, I'm actually using a lot lighter rod. Like I use this light action rod that I have here, or even an ultralight. An ultralight's better. And you don't want to jerk up and set the hook like you would with other fish. All you want to do is reel into the fish and apply tension and bring it towards you. Like if you're gonna set the hook, do nothing more than just raise the rod up to your opposite shoulder. That's what I usually do. Otherwise, you're gonna lose the fish. All right, guys. Apparently, I found a school. I've been waiting for this. Another crappie. Yeah, a little one though. Nothing to brag about, but first bass of the year. Ain't he cute? That's an alright bass. Yep. Yeah, bigger than the one I caught earlier. I'll take it. He's a little beat up. So, you know, I'm moving down the bank, checking out different spots, and I'm going to show you guys what I'm doing. As I'm walking down the bank, I'm looking at the water, and I'm reading the surface. I'm seeing if there's any swirls showing up on the surface. It shows that there'd be fish in that spot making beds to spawn in. I'm also looking out about maybe 100 feet or so from the bank into the deeper part of the lake, because that's where the bass would be. Seeing if anything's like coming up feeding on the bait fish, like, you know, there's some just fed off the surface. It's just something to look for. You know, take advantage of every moment you're out fishing. If you're going from one spot to another, don't treat it as, you know, here we go, hut, got to get to the next spot. You know, learn the water, look for stuff to fish for. A lot of the stuff you're going to see me teach, and a lot of stuff you're going to see me do on this channel is going to be bank fishing, because I don't have a boat. I don't have access to a boat. So I've had to learn to make the most of the situation I'm in. And these are the things that I'll teach you along the way, so you can do the same thing when you're out fishing. You know, here's another good spot to fish for small panfish. Probably more likely bass over here, mostly because there's a creek that comes in right on the other side of these bushes. So bass are probably going to be schooled up right there, waiting to pick off any of the smaller fish that come up to feed in the creek, or any forage that comes down the creek for them. That, and it smells like fish over here. You know, call me crazy, but it's something my grandpa taught me. You can smell fish around the bank, it means there's probably fish in that area. See, I can see a lot of swirls going on the surface over here. So there's definitely some fish making some beds in this area. Little guy. Little bass. Just a baby. Aww. Alright, get bigger. What we got here? Bluegill. Wow, little guy. Surprised he even went for that. Wow, that one's got some pretty colors. That is a pretty little fish. You know, even though bass and crappie eat bluegill, it's really common to see the three species schooled up together. I mean, they're all schooling species. They're all pretty closely related. It's just some of them get a lot bigger and some of them eat the others. But there are bluegill that get big enough that they'll eat the fry of other species close to them, kind of like how the crappie and the bass will. And you saw that small bluegill I caught on a 2-inch grub. I mean, it figured it'd go for it. It figured it was food. It figured it could eat it. And this basically is like a small fry of a fish. And it just goes to show, you know, if they're predatory and they're hungry, they're in that feeding mode. If they think they can fit it in their mouth, they'll try to eat it. You know, I've seen bass eat lures that are like 3/4 the length of the bass's body. It's kind of absurd sometimes, the things they'll try to eat. So when some people tell you you're using too big of a lure for fish, you know, just remind them of things like that. Oh, another little guy. Oh, there he goes. You know, another thing to consider, I mean, in my experience, all the biggest bluegill, red ears, pumpkin seed sunfish, anything that's common in my area, all the biggest ones I've caught of those species, I've caught on lures. I haven't caught on bait. Calm down. Another little guy. There we go. Aw, look at that tiny bass. Wow, he's got some dark colors to him. Wow. Look at that.
Nice.
Is that
pretty good looking little bass?
Is that a spotted bass?
I think that might actually be a smallmouth. No? That's still a largemouth. That's a largemouth bass.
I've never seen a small largemouth colored like that. Those dark colors.
It's got to be mixed with something. Something's got to be interbreeding out here for that.
Yeah.